San Francisco has this incredible concentration of ambitious people. That's the reason you live here.
We both live in the Hacker House in Negev. How do you like it, and how do you think we sustain a community?
Like, what's the most interesting thing about the Negev? When I talk to people about it, they just find it mind-boggling that you have 40 people under one rooftop with one shared kitchen, one living room. It's just so foreign to them that you'd have adults who are often like decently well paid who are choosing to live this way.
Like, really, what do you need? Location is everything.
Yeah, it is incredibly central. 6th Street is a great place to be if you just had a satellite view and you didn't actually realize the contents. So, like, the reason I've been there for like 2.5 years is that it's the people. I mean, why do you live in San Francisco? It's not clean, it's expensive, doesn't have the best weather in California, but sure has a ton of taxes. And so you choose to live here. Why? For me, the answer goes back to one of the best essays, in my opinion, from Paul Graham, Cities and Ambition. His core point in it is that in a given city, you have like the primary ambition. In LA, that might be fame. In New York, it's money. In DC, it's power. In San Francisco, you have your own set of ambition. He describes it as influence. San Francisco has this incredible concentration of really ambitious people. So I think that's the reason you live here, because the of the city kind of screens out the people who are like just trying to have a good life, only leaves the people who have that fire in their belly to do great things. I think living at a place like the Negev is just getting a super concentration of that. Not only are you living in San Francisco, but you're living on 6th Street, 6th and Howard. You know, future generations will be like, what?
You did. I talked to my cab driver. He's like, I used to live in New York City in the 80s. It was like way worse. And it's like, I live on 6th Street. And he's like, oh.
Yeah. That'll make people second guess.
And also, you know, is there hot water all the time? Sometimes you see cockroaches. But the House President, when she gives tours, says that she highlights these things because if you don't want to be in that community, if you don't want to hack all the time, if you don't want to put up with it, you're gone.
Exactly. I think having reasons not to be in a place guarantees that you get the best concentration of the right kind of people. In Cities and Ambition, Paul Graham notes Boston and Berkeley. He had spent a lot of time in Boston. He calls it the intellectual capital of the world because you really have so many professors, so many students, and when you look through an open window, you'll often see a bookshelf more than a television. So when he came to the West Coast, he expected Berkeley to be the equivalent of that, but with better weather. So he was really excited. But actually, having lived in Berkeley for a while, he found that instead of Boston's ambition, which he describes as you should be smarter, in Berkeley, it's you should live better. It's more holistic. And so you have more hippies, whereas a hippie would go to Boston and be like, way too cold. Berkeley just doesn't have enough reasons to not live there. It's a great place.
How did you end up at the Negev? Have you been there for 3 years? Since it started?
No, not since it started. Although I am one of the more veteran members. Like Craigslist, I mean, it was pretty random, actually. I knew I wanted to live at a hacker house because I had read the essay and I was like, people, I don't know anyone. Where can I meet people? So that was kind of my motivation.
Yeah, it's the same way I ended up there as Brian, who you saw the video earlier, just said, one of my friends lived at this house. He slept in a room with 8 different people over 2 years. 2 of them are billionaires now. You should go live there. And I show up the first month and I'm just like, this is a shithole. I can't live here. I got to get out. And then the more people I met, the more I realized that it is the community.
Yeah.
I just went on a ski trip with 9 of us and we played a game. It was like questions or hot seat, where we just like sit you down and just ask you questions like, what is your biggest regret? A few of them, I just hadn't even talked to them before. And then you learn so much about them that when you see them downstairs, you go for a run with them, you ask them how their startup's doing. Oh, you need a 10-minute video edited for your startup? Sure, throw it onto my computer, I'll do that later.
Yeah.
It's just self-feeding.
Every time I try and move out, it's like some new interesting people move in. I'm like, all right, I'll hang out a bit longer. The only thing that's going to get me to get out will be finding like another community like it. I don't know, in a nicer area or something like that.
Well, we'll see if another one springs up. If you know of any, leave them in the comments below.
I mean, I caught a news story about the whole, like, there was like a crypto house somewhere in San Francisco. Part of the requirements for joining the house was buying like $100 worth of Bitcoin or something like that. You know, in this past year, like something like over half the house became millionaires. My point was just that here was this cool house that had like its own angle that I had no idea existed. There's something we were talking about was, could we have like a league of hacker houses?
We could compete on different levels.
Yeah, like have hackathons together, and you may come together for events, because it's the people who live there. I mean, there's one called Saddle House where people who have lived there come to the Negev and vice versa. You know, it's similar demographic. So I think it could make sense.
What do we need to do to start a league? Do we just need a seal and a website?
Maybe.
Join the league.
Yeah. Join the league.
Send out a newsletter.
How are you not in the league? I mean, are you even a
Really?
hacker house?
Seriously, dude?
If you're not in the league? I don't think so.
People. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you live in a hacker house or want to join the league, leave a comment below.